everyone, my name is Morgan, and today we're going to be talking about the new Pinocchio movie. You know, this one.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
Now, I'm sure many of you have seen this clip, and I have had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing it in the context of the movie. I say unfortunate because this movie is shockingly bad. Now, I know that Curtis Connor already beat me to the punch and made a video on this movie already, but by the time his went up, I'd already started working on mine, and I did not suffer through this movie twice for nothing, okay? Shout out to him, though. I'm a big fan. Now just sit back, relax, and allow me to subject you to the absolute disaster of a movie that is Pinocchio, a true story. That's right, this is a true story. It all actually happened. The movie opens on a circus, and we're immediately introduced to a talking horse named Tybalt.
Oh, you're already here. Greetings, noble senors and senoritas.
You know a movie's gonna be good when it immediately breaks the fourth wall. Now right off the bat, I have to say that Tybalt is a main character in this movie, and I hate him. He's the worst, okay? He's beyond annoying, he's dumb, and his personality changes like 3 times throughout the course of this movie. Now Tybalt continues to talk directly to the audience and tells us all that the story of Pinocchio that we know is not true, okay? It's a lie, and he's gonna tell us the true story. The story begins at Geppetto's house, and he's just finished making a puppet. He says that this puppet is going to be his son so that he's less lonely, but he needs to come up with a name first.
Maybe Leonardo. That won't do either. He'd grow up to be a selfish actor, or an artist, or a turtle who only cares about pizza.
The comedy in this movie doesn't get any better. Surprise, surprise, he decides on the name Pinocchio. This is when Tybalt pops his head in the window and tells Geppetto that Pinocchio looks lame.
Personally, I find his appearance rather dull. Don't you agree, my dear Geppetto?
Tybalt is a jerk. Also, this line is a perfect example of how stellar the voice acting is going to be in this movie. Geppetto goes outside because the guest he's been expecting has arrived. It's a fairy named Lucilda and her creepy talking bird.
Bye-bye.
Geppetto repaired her wand for her, and she's here to pick it up. As she rides off, she decides to surprise Geppetto by casting a spell through his window, which hits Pinocchio and knocks him over.
This will make for an extremely interesting story.
Okay, but my question is, how did Lucilda know that Pinocchio was in there? She didn't go inside, so she had no way of knowing that there was a puppet in there. And even if Geppetto had told her sometime in the past that he was planning on making a puppet, she had no idea that it was done. So I guess she just cast a spell through the window and was like, something will come to life. And she's just lucky that she hit a puppet and not a more normal object like the fireplace. That'd be a very different story. Anyway, back inside, Geppetto picks up Pinocchio only to find out that he's alive.
Pinocchio? Oh.
You know, if I had a puppet and it came to life and just started laughing at me, I think I might pass out too. So I'm sure that Pinocchio is very shocked and surprised by the fact that he's alive and can move around now. Or maybe he's like super happy about it. Let's just see how he reacts.
Alive! I'm a boy and I'm alive!
We jump forward in time to see Pinocchio riding Tybalt around doing all sorts of flips and tricks while making weird noises despite the fact that his mouth is not moving. Geppetto sees this and freaks out because he doesn't want his puppet son to get hurt, but Pinocchio says that it's fine because he's made of high quality material.
He told me I was made out of high quality materials.
I've got everything under control.
I hate him. There's suddenly a knock on the door and Geppetto opens it to find a detective. And these 2 dudes. The movie never explains who these 2 are, but they're always following the detective around, so I guess they work for him. The detective asks Geppetto if he's seen any suspicious people around lately. Now, there is no crime. Like, he's not investigating any specific incident. He's just hoping to find tough criminals.
It's a very serious matter. We're looking for tough criminals.
So this guy is just wandering around looking for suspicious people? You can't arrest someone for that. There's been no crime. The detective decides that he wants to search Geppetto's house just in case there's someone suspicious in there, which you can't do that. You can't enter someone's home and look around just because there might be someone suspicious in there. And that's not even a crime! He wants to start by investigating the stable, which is bad because this is where Pinocchio and Tybalt are hiding.
But it is your job to wait, and my job is to investigate.
There's nothing to investigate, though! Luckily, there's suddenly a loud sound in the distance, and the detective and his goons decide to just drop what they're doing and run after it to investigate. Truly some ace detectives right there. I hate him.
I was sure that detective was about to find you.
It doesn't matter anyway because you can't arrest someone for being wooden. Now this is when Pinocchio says the line.
Father, tell me, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
Pinocchio wants to go off and adventure, but Geppetto says that he can't because he's just too unusual for this world. Yes. He's too unusual for this world full of talking animals and magical fairies. Pinocchio is sad until he hears the same sound that the world's greatest detectives heard and runs off with Tybalt to see what it is. We now see a circus, and this circus is ran by this guy, the ringleader, Majafoco. But for the rest of this video, we're just going to call him the ringleader because when I was taking notes on this movie, it was getting really tedious to write Majafoco over and over again, so I just started calling him the ringleader, and now I can't stop. I promise you if I don't do this, I'm going to call him the ringleader by accident at some point. Anyway, the ringleader is having a meeting with two of his performers, Fox and Cat. Yes, their names are actually Fox and Cat. They are never referred to as anything else. Those are their names. Cat has a gun, and he for some reason just won't stop shooting holes through the ceiling. So that's the noise that Pinocchio and the detective heard. They're talking about how their last two shows had barely any audience, so they need to come up with a new act, but their ideas suck.
We'll turn off all the lights, and I'll crawl between the seats, grabbing the audience by their feet.
I will shoot the audience, and the fox will be catching the bullets with his teeth.
You're going to learn very quickly that this cat's defining character trait is his gun. The ringleader hates these ideas, which pisses Cat off, so he shoots through the ceiling again. This causes a weird chain reaction with an acorn, and I can't figure out how exactly it works no matter how many times I look at it. The acorn hits a horse, causing it to freak out and run in a perfect circle, hitting everything the circus has set up before running off, pulling a defenseless little girl with it. Meanwhile, Pinocchio is riding around on Tybalt, and he's sad because Geppetto won't let him go off on his own. Tybalt tells him that it's because he's special, and the police are sniffing around, and you can't arrest someone for being made of wood!
You have a dream?
Yes, Tybalt, I have a special, most treasured dream.
We never actually find out what that dream is. It's just kind of never brought up again. They hear a commotion and see the horse running off with the girl, and it's heading straight for a cliff. Pinocchio wants to save her, but Tybalt's like, no, it's not my problem. Once again, Tybalt sucks. He manages to convince him though, and Pinocchio swoops in and saves the day by steering the horse away from the cliff while making weird noises.
I got you.
The girl is very thankful and introduces herself as Bella. Bella is a performer in the circus, and she's also the ringleader's daughter. Then Cat finally catches up and sees Pinocchio.
Mamma mia! A wooden boy!
I would say that it is insane if your first instinct when seeing a wooden boy is to shoot him. But this is the cat we're talking about. All he does is shoot things. Anyway, Pinocchio is fine because he's made of high quality material.
You told me I was made out of high quality materials.
He's a talking wooden puppet.
And you're a talking cat. The ringleader shows up and tells Pinocchio that he's perfect for the circus because he can ride a horse and is made of wood. Tybalt turns him down because he for some reason thinks that this is his decision to make. But then the ringleader starts complimenting him, and that alone is enough to change Tybalt's mind. I hate him. Pinocchio tells them that he has to ask his father first while giving them the pointless detail that his father's name is Geppetto.
I have to talk to my father first. His name is Geppetto.
Hey, do you want to come to my place later? Oh, yeah, sure. I just have to ask my dad first. His name is John. Back at home, Pinocchio is begging Geppetto to let him do just one show. Geppetto is against it until he's just randomly not. Like 1 minute he's saying no, the next he's saying yes. Nothing was said to change his mind. He's just saying yes now.
Thank you, Daddy. I knew you wouldn't say no. Let's go, Tybalt. Great adventures await.
I don't think there's anything that I can say about skiddy. I think I just need to let it sit, let it be, and let you process the fact that he ran out of the room while going skiddy. Hey, remember the detectives? Well, they're still on the case. Except not really, because there is no case. They find carriage tracks on the ground, and that's suspicious, even though that's one of the main forms of transportation in this world.
The suspect must have gone that way.
What suspect? There's no crime! The circus arrives in town and everyone is excited. Keep that in mind. Fox and Cat start the show, but everyone in the crowd is just yelling about how this show is going to be awful and is gonna suck.
It's anything like last year. I want my money back.
Okay, first of all, you were excited that the circus was in town 2 seconds ago. 2, why did you go to the circus if you think it's gonna suck? Like, no one's forcing you to go. Why would you go to a show that you think is gonna be bad? Cat goes to shoot an apple off of Fox's head, but instead, confetti comes out. The crowd loves this. Then Fox throws the apple into the air and it lands on Cat's claw and explodes. The crowd for some reason hates this. It makes them so mad.
I want my money back!
This crowd is so confusing because they loved the confetti but hated the more impressive trick. Now it's Pinocchio and Tybalt's turn. Pinocchio gets stage fright for a minute, but then very quickly and suddenly gets over it, and it's just never brought up again. Pinocchio and Tybalt do the exact same routine that they did at home. And I mean the exact same. The crowd loves it though, so I guess all the circus really needed was a wooden boy riding a horse. The ringleader is so happy, and he welcomes Pinocchio into his gang. I mean circus.
And welcome to our gang. Whoop! Excuse me, I mean, welcome to Papa Chiaffo's circus troupe.
Pinocchio agrees to go on tour with the circus, and Tybalt agrees to be Pinocchio's stand-in father while they're away. Tybalt would be a horrible father! Now it's time for Bella to perform, and she sings a really boring song while spinning through the air. I'd like to note that before the song starts, they show that these three are going to play the instruments for it. A tuba, a violin, and a drum. So someone, please tell me, how the hell is there a piano in this song?
It's here.
The crowd loves it and they cheer for Pinocchio and Bella. So maybe these people who hated the circus only came just to see Bella and hated the rest of it. But now that there's a wooden boy riding a horse, oh baby, now this is a show! Now there's a montage of the circus being successful thanks to Pinocchio and Bella, but they just reuse the same scenes from the circus we just saw. There's also this poster that just says Pinocchio Circus. And I love it, it's just so dumb. The detectives are back and they think that a poster for the circus is suspicious for some reason.
A detective's first job is to think. I wonder where they're going next.
Ace Detective!
Pinocchio is outside Bella's room listening to her practice because apparently he's in love with her now. I guess that developed in that awesome montage we just saw. Tybalt shows up and tells Pinocchio that he should confess to Bella, but he has some valid concerns, like what if he's crossing a line, or what if she says no? Tybalt's response to this is,
Either you go and talk to her, or we go back home. I'm not going to spend my life waiting for you to make up your mind.
and then he just huffs and walks off. I hate him. As Tybalt walks away though, we see that there's just a clown silently watching them. He doesn't say anything, he doesn't approach them, no one acknowledges him, he's just there. Meanwhile, Bella overhears Fox and Cat talking to the ringleader. He says that their shows are sold out thanks to Pinocchio and Bella, and Cat wonders what they'll do if Pinocchio decides to go back home. The ringleader says that this won't happen because he likes Bella, and then laughs maniacally.
He's not going anywhere.
They didn't actually say anything bad or evil, but Bella seems to think otherwise, and apparently so does the ringleader since he laughed maniacally. Bella thinks that if Pinocchio stays at the circus, he's gonna be in trouble. But then Pinocchio shows up ready to confess his feelings, and it goes great.
It's just me.
Get out! Leave! I don't even like you!
Pinocchio is depressed now, and Fox and Cat show up to make fun of him and tell him that Bella will never like him because he's a puppet. Which is actually really stupid because they just agreed that Pinocchio won't leave because he likes Bella. If they tell him that, he's gonna want to leave. Oh look, Geppetto's still relevant. He's sad because he misses Pinocchio and he thinks back on how much he enjoyed watching him ride Tybalt in a circle while making strange noises.
Pinocchio.
He decides to set off and find his son, which is probably a good idea because Tybalt is a horrible stand-in father. Speaking of Tybalt, let's see how he's supporting Pinocchio in his broken heart.
Well, so what?
Honestly, this is about what I expected.
What do you expect me to say?
I don't know, cheer him up? You're the one that forced him to confess, Tybalt. Pinocchio says that he doesn't want to be a puppet anymore, and then this clown just creeps up out of nowhere and says that he can help. He says that there's a fairy named Lucilda who could turn Pinocchio into a real boy. But there's a catch.
The mountain pass that leads to a house is believed to be by evil spirits.
Okay, we're just going to ignore the fact that he forgot to say the word haunted in that sentence to talk about something that I haven't really touched on yet. The dialogue is not even close to being synced with the mouths in this movie, and it's just so noticeable here.
The mountain pass that leads to a house is believed to be by evil spirits.
Then the clown turns around and very slowly walks away. Tybalt was all freaked out by the idea of spirits and doesn't want to go because apparently being a scaredy cat is one of his character traits now. Pinocchio won't back down though and says that he's going. In a last-ditch effort to make him stay, Tybalt asks what Pinocchio's gonna do if they need money, but Pinocchio says it's fine because he's got 5 gold coins. This is somehow all the money he's made being the star of the circus. Fox and Cat overhear this, and they make a plan. Pinocchio and Tybalt begin their journey to find Lucilda, and Tybalt won't stop talking about how scared he is, because this is his defining character trait now. Then there's this whole bit where Cat and Fox pretend to be Lucilda and try to get Pinocchio's 5 gold coins. Tybalt figures out that they're not really Lucilda, so Cat chases them and tries to murder them.
So long, Butterface.
Tybalt is annoying again because he for some reason thinks that he's been shot and won't stop running.
I'm wounded, and I'm sure it's fatal.
Have I mentioned that I hate Tybalt? He finally stops and Pinocchio informs the idiot that he's fine.
You're the one who's invincible to bullets, Pinocchio.
Okay, I glossed over this the last time Pinocchio got shot. But you can shoot through wood. Like, I even found this video on YouTube of this guy who shoot through multiple pieces of wood. Pinocchio should be able to be harmed by bullets, but he's not. What kind of high quality material did Geppetto use?
He told me I was made out of high quality materials.
Who were they, and how did they know your name?
I don't know, but for a little second there, it seemed to me as though they sounded like the cat and the fox.
Really? Anyway, then they realize that the mountain leading to Lucilda's place is right in front of them. So if you remember, the mountain leading to Lucilda's place is supposedly haunted by spirits. Well, it turns out there are no spirits, it's just Lucilda's bird scaring people. Then there's this really long exchange between Pinocchio and Tybalt where Tybalt is being a coward and trying to leave, and Pinocchio is like, but you're supposed to be my stand-in father! Just let it go, Pinocchio. Tybalt is the worst father. Then Lucilda's bird tries to kill them by dropping huge rocks on them, and they escape by doing a corny slow-motion jump.
Losing my touch.
At what? Murder? You tried to kill them! They meet Lucilda only for her to tell them that she can't turn Pinocchio into a real boy, but everything comes in due time.
Miracles are priceless.
Well, that was a waste. They leave and Lucilda tells her bird that there's a secret, and that secret is that if someone wants to be human, all they have to do is be human. Okay, also, why did you tell your bird that and not Pinocchio? On the journey back to the circus, Pinocchio is feeling pretty down.
As your father, I know what's best for you.
Shut up, Tybalt. Everyone's favorite characters, the detectives, show up. But,
1, 2, 1, 2. Hurry up. We detectives lead the way.
what the hell are they doing?
We're following the trail. Don't you two get it?
No, sir.
Same. Apparently the detective found out that the circus is actually a gang, and while everyone is at the show, they go and rob their houses. He also said that Pinocchio is in charge of all this because he's the star of the show. That is some solid evidence. So Pinocchio and Tybalt overheard all this, and Pinocchio doesn't even seem to care that the detective thinks that he's an evil mastermind because he has to go back to the circus and warn Bella that she's in danger. Tybalt, on the other hand, thinks that they should run now that they're wanted criminals. They can't come to an agreement though, so they go their separate ways.
Leave if you want. I don't need you anyway.
I will leave.
Father of the Year, Tybalt. Back at the circus, we witness a shocking revelation.
My most beautiful, most loving child.
You're not my real father.
Back in the forest, Pinocchio gets caught by the detectives.
But if everyone's innocent, who committed the robberies? Me?
Ace Detective!
He shoves his handkerchief in Pinocchio's mouth, which he could just very easily spit out, but he doesn't. Tybalt shows up to save Pinocchio, and the detectives just let go of him and start going after Tybalt, and Pinocchio just doesn't run for some reason. Does he want to be saved? Tybalt doesn't back down, kicks the detectives into a tree, and then rides off with Pinocchio because cowardice is no longer his defining character trait. Pinocchio and Tybalt forgive each other for their fight that lasted 2 minutes, and then Tybalt notices that Pinocchio still has the detective's handkerchief. This gives Tybalt an idea, and he tells Pinocchio to stay put before he runs off. Pinocchio doesn't listen though because he wants to go warn Bella. Back at the circus, Pinocchio runs into the ringleader and threatens to tell everyone the truth about the circus. Then Bella shows up, and Pinocchio asks her if she knew what her father's doing. Her response is,
Yes, no. I only recently found out.
Now Bella literally said, I only recently found out, implying that she has nothing to do with this. But for some reason, Pinocchio takes it the complete opposite way, and is like, you're horrible, you're a part of this, you're awful, go away. Jeez, Pinocchio, you made the poor girl cry. I think he's been spending too much time with Tybalt because he's starting to rub off on him. Then they capture Pinocchio and lock him in a cage, and Geppetto is there? The ringleader tells Pinocchio that he has to perform or else Geppetto gets it. Tybalt is back and he runs into Bella, who tells him that Pinocchio is locked up. Then Tybalt, the jerk that he is, blames all of this on Bella and berates her until she cries. I honestly feel kind of bad for Bella because no one will listen to her, and now she's being gaslit by a talking horse. Tybalt notices that she's crying into a handkerchief that's identical to the detective's, and she says that it was with her when the ringleader found her in the woods as a child. Tybalt saves Pinocchio and Geppetto, and he tells them that he has a plan and the whole circus is going to help with it. Now this plan is that in the middle of the show, all of the performers will come out and sing to the crowd about how their homes get robbed during the show.
Some thieves are hiding gallows guests and robbing everyone.
Singing about the robberies is such an odd choice. Like, these people have just had their homes broken into and robbed. Like, this is something that should be told in a serious manner. And there's nothing stopping them from just coming out in the middle of the show and being like, hey, the ringleader robbed you. But no, instead they come out and are like, while you're at our show, your home is broken into and all your precious belongings are stolen.
While the audience is watching us, the thief walks down the street.
I think if I was in that crowd, I'd just be confused. Like, the fact that they're singing would make me question if they're serious or not. Also, during this song, they showed that the ringleader, Fox, and Cat all robbed the houses during the show. But this doesn't make sense because they're all in the show, and the ringleader announces every act, so I don't know when they have time to do this. The detectives show up to arrest them, but the ringleader sets the tent on fire to try and escape. This doesn't work out though because him and Fox are immediately arrested. Cat tries to take Bella hostage until he gets too scared of the fire and runs out. But now Bella is trapped, so Pinocchio swoops in and saves the day. And then he dies. Yeah, Tybalt brings him out and he's just dead. So we now know the limits of Pinocchio's high quality materials. He can take on bullets, but not fire. Bella cries over him and her tears somehow revive him and turn him into a human. And his human form? I hate it. Not as much as I hate Tybalt though. Lucilda appears out of nowhere and is like, see, everything comes in due time. If you remember, Lucilda said that the secret to being human is to be human, which means out of all the things Pinocchio has done, the most human of them all was when he fell into a pit of fire and died.
I'm so sorry I wrongly accused you. Senor Tybalt told me the whole story.
So you're telling me that earlier, when Tybalt saw the detective's handkerchief and said that he had an idea, his brilliant plan was to go find the detective and tell him the truth, when they've already tried doing that. And he just believed them this time.
Ace Detective!
Speaking of the detective, Tybalt points out that he has the same handkerchief as Bella. The ringleader reveals that he didn't actually find Bella in the woods, but instead he bought her from someone who kidnapped her. Then the detective is like, oh my god, my daughter was kidnapped 11 years ago! And that's why he decided to become a detective.
That's when I decided to become a detective and find the kidnappers.
So glad we found out the motivations of the detective in the last 3 minutes of the movie. So the detective quits his job, becomes the new ringleader of the circus, and everyone is happy. And then the movie just kind of ends very abruptly. And that is Pinocchio, A True Story. This movie, there are no words to properly describe how bad it is. From the story, to the characters, to the voice acting not syncing with the mouths, it's just awful. I think part of what makes it so bad is the fact that it's supposed to be a Pinocchio movie, because the only similarity between this and the original Pinocchio is that there is a talking puppet named Pinocchio. There's nothing about lying, his motivations for wanting to be a real boy are completely different, and you replaced Jiminy Cricket with Tybalt. Tybalt is awful. He sucks. He is nothing like Jiminy Cricket. There are very few people who will get this joke. But I could not resist making it. I'm not even a fan of the original Pinocchio, but like, I will take it any day over this movie. I felt like I was going to lose my mind watching it for the second time. It hurt my soul. But I hope my suffering was worth it and you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what other movies, games, anime, TV shows, whatever you want me to do this kind of video with in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter at itsmoog, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Skidee, skidee, skidee. I want you all to know that saying the detective or the detectives in a sentence so it flows properly is really hard. I can't tell you how many times I fumbled trying to say the detectives in this video. It's hard, okay?